What the heck was this? A reimagining of National Treasure with a black cast?
That's a bold choice, bitch!
Be strong.
Welcome to 5 on the Backhand Side. This week we review episode 4 of Lovecraft Country, titled A History of Violence. There will be spoilers. Please be sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and also subscribe to channels similar to ours. Now let's get into the episode. I did not like this episode. It was just all over the place, and I hated the ending. I don't think you should be using hip-hop or rock music in a period piece. It just removes you from the setting, in my opinion. And this episode had way too much of it. This week we start with Montrose suffering a serious breakdown. He is experiencing childhood trauma and trauma from the death of his brother hitting him all at once. He has been studying the bylaws of the Order of the Ancient Dawn, which George wanted him to give the tick, but he in turn burns it. Christina goes to meet Letty. She is unable to enter the house because of the protection spell left by the voodoo priestess. Letty figures out she provided the money to her.
Who helped you evict Hiram?
How the hell did you?
That was a quick way to fill a plot hole. She tells Letty Tick tried to kill her and tries to convince Letty to give her Hiram's orrery that Hippolyta found last week. We cut to Hippolyta asking her father about the orrery and what galaxy would be capable of sustaining 2 suns, as it shows. He thinks that would be just fantasy like Diane's comics. Apparently the orrery is broken and she cannot find out how to get to the gears. Letty finds Tick at the library and asks him about the Tina situation. He has been studying, trying to find out a way to keep her and his family safe by finding the pages of the book. Why not just learn some voodoo and call it a day? She says they should just ask Montrose. Tick realizes all the books he is reading Montrose had already checked out. A young child shushes him for talking loud, as we see he is reading a copy of Journey to the Center of the Earth, foreshadowing on the nose. Back in Sammy's bar from the first episode, Letty is already talking to Montrose. He tries to keep them from looking for the pages and lets slips that there are 34 other lodges. Montrose is right. We can see that Tina is setting them up to get the pages and the information she needs for her. He reluctantly agrees to help them go to Boston, the possible location of Titus's vault. Tina is playing hide and seek with some kids, apparently the first time she has ever played the game. She gets picked up by 2 cops that take her to another secret lodge where she speaks with Captain Lancaster. This dude is keeping someone a prisoner in his closet.
Give me the Ori. That is the key to unlocking his time machine, isn't it?
Our trio is preparing to leave when we find out that Hippolyta and Diane are also going on the trip to the museum in Boston. Because it is Hippolyta's car, she and Dee would be also going along. Right before they hit the road, Tree asked them for a ride to Philly.
Man, what the hell you doing? I got a Philly in Philly. Thought I'd catch a ride with y'all to Boston. Save myself part of the bus fare.
How the heck does everyone in Chicago know when someone is leaving on a trip? Ruby finally makes it to Marshall's to apply for the job, but it has already been taken. You snooze, you lose. This scene was to set us up for what was to follow. In the museum, Montrose meets with their contact, while Letty and Tick start looking for the vault. Tree tries to come on to Letty, and she reminds him that they had sex in high school. I'm confused. She was a virgin last week, but was she only a virgin because she was brought back to life? Questions to ponder. During a tour of the museum, Tree tries to convince Tick that Montrose is a homosexual. I thought the same thing in my first review. Why was Sammy always providing him with alcohol, and his museum contact is also a friend of Sammy's from the bar? We have a William sighting. He beats the crap out of 2 men waiting outside Tina's home and tells them to tell their captain she does not like being followed. I'll tell you, William is some kind of demon or creature controlled by Tina. Is anyone else wondering how our trio was able to get away from Hippolyta, Diane, and Tree to go break into a museum? They discover the entrance to the vault with Montrose's help and enter. There are 3 tunnels from which they can choose and will need the map of Titus's voyages to use the compass and legend. Montrose keeps dropping hints of the knowledge he has of the Order without giving away too much.
Titus raided Guyana for all it's worth, which means the tunnel would have been westbound.
How you know he raided Guyana?
Same way I know anything, I read a damn book.
They proceed down the tunnel Letty chose based on the brochure. Museum renovations were done in 1810, and he established the son of Adam 3 years later. Ruby is depressed and giving one of her worst performances in Sammy's bar. She meets up with William, who has ulterior motives, as we all know. He said as much after he beat up the two cops. I cannot tell if he is really starting to like her or just playing along. Suspension of disbelief alert. Really, this whole scene is just unbelievable, and not in a good way. Deep in the tunnel, they come to a cavern with only a long plank. That must be magic because it don't see any seams and it looks like it goes on forever. They begin to cross. To the best of my knowledge, none of them have any experience in walking a plank only 12 inches wide, in almost complete darkness, but they manage to avoid a booby trap and make it across. Montrose helps them figure out the combination to a door blocking their pathway as the plank dissolves. As they continue through the tunnel, Tick tells them that they have to get out in 2 hours or they will drown. William and Ruby end up banging. He sucks the blood from her hand and it looks like a brand of a ram on his chest. I told you this guy was a demon. Tick is being an asshole in the tunnel and makes his father tell him how much he knows. He says he is only there to protect their family, and that is the reason he burned the book. He tells Tick he is doing this because he won't stop.
And I did it the night I burnt that damn book. Closing Pandora's box once and for all. Why are you here helping us anyway? Because your stubborn ass won't stop, Dick!
One of the bodies from last week is down in this tunnel? Did they walk all the way back to Chicago? Once I saw the elevator that leads to the Winthrop house, I knew there must be some type of space and time spell being applied. They follow the tunnel to a door with a detached arm sticking out of it. I believe it belongs to Hiram. Tick puts on the Sons of Adam ring and places his hand inside. It begins to drain blood from his arm and something begins to activate. A ladder falls from the ceiling. They climb up and enter a room with a large table with the mummified remains of what looks like some type of native people. At the end of the room, one more body rests on a table with the pages from the Book of Names. Tick reaches for it and the body reanimates. We meet Yahima Murakote, a hermaphrodite that was cursed by Titus and imprisoned in this place.
Miss Thing with the reveal?
He had used her to decipher the Book of Names. She says she does not trust Tick and will not help them translate the pages. Montrose grabs the pages and it triggers a final booby trap. The tunnel begins to flood and they escape to the elevator with Yahima and start to go upstairs to Letty's house. Yahima unleashes a scream and Tick knocks her out. Hippolyta and Diane are driving back to Chicago. They don't know how the others made it back without a car. Hippolyta looks at the atlas and sees Devon County circled. She turns the car around and says she is looking to get answers. Tick speaks with Yahima and he and Montrose believe she was turned into a siren by Titus. Tick says they should teach her English to help with the translation. As Tick leaves, Montrose enters the room with Yahima and cuts her throat. I'm going to give this episode a 3 out of 5. Yes, this is my lowest score of any of the episodes so far, and I hope they get back on track next week. They were doing so well and really took a step back from what they had been doing. The story this week was by Wes Taylor, so maybe it was his writing. The last 3 episodes were all Misha Green and were all great. It looks like she will be sharing the writing duties on the last 6 episodes with other people, so I don't know what to expect. The bar was just set so high in the first 3. Well, thanks for clicking on this video, and don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel and others similar. We'll see you next time, and keep it copacetic.